So hello and welcome back to yet another episode. My name is Joe and I'm the Forex Architect, and today I have yet another video, and today I'll be showing you the weekly forecast analysis for major currency pairs and a few cross pairs. So let's dive into the video. So we'll start off our analysis with the dollar index, and we'll start off by looking at the daily time frame. Looking at the daily time frame, you can see the dollar index is bullish currently, and that is indicated by this rectangle tool right here. So yeah, so we can see that the dollar index is bullish. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame and see how the dollar index is doing, so that we can have an insight of how the dollar is performing. Yeah, so it will be easier for us to compare it with the other currencies. So on the 4-hour time frame, the dollar index, we can see it made this new higher high right here after breaking the previous higher high. So we have this new higher high which is about to be formed right here. So for the dollar index, we'll be waiting for the dollar to come and tap this demand zone right here. If the demand zone fails, we'll wait for it to come to this second demand zone. So let's go and look at the major currency pairs along with other exotic pairs. NZDUSD, the daily time frame, we can see clearly using this rectangular box that the current market condition is a downtrend. So after establishing the direction, the other thing, we can also see that this is the lowest price the NZDUSD has traded since last year October. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame and see how exactly the structure looks, and see how we can set up a trade. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, NZDUSD is forming a very nice downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. So recently it broke below the previous lower low. So for this week, I'll be waiting to see if price will come back to this 4-hour supply zone right here. If the 4-hour supply zone fails, I'll wait for price to come somewhere around this zone right here. So if price goes beyond this point, that for me it will have indicated a change in direction, and I'll just have to wait for me to have a clarity. I'll wait for clarity, to see a series of high highs forming, so that I can confirm my bullish bias. But as of now, my bias for NZDUSD is purely bearish. So that's it for NZDUSD. Let's go to the next currency pair. And on the daily time frame for USDCHF, we can clearly see that the market is bullish. It has been bullish since the beginning of the year. So after establishing the direction and marking our major psychological levels, what we want to do is go to the 4-hour time frame and see if there's any setup we can see using the structure in the market. So let's go. In the 4-hour for USDCHF, you can see that there's this not so nice structure, but at least we can clearly identify our highs and lows, and you can see there is this break of structure which happened earlier, and then recently we have this break of structure right here. So with that established, we need to look at what demand zone have price left behind. So you can see that there is this nice demand zone which led to this breaking of structure. So for this week, I want to see if price will come, tap to my demand zone, give me a nice entry confirmation, and then I'll ride the trend. If it comes and a 4-hour candle closes below the 4-hour range, that will have violated my bias. So I'll wait for more confirmation to change my bias to a downtrend. So that's it for USDCHF. Let's look at the next currency pair. Our next currency pair is EURUSD. So let's go to the daily time frame and see how the market is trading. And on the daily time frame for EURUSD, we can clearly see using this rectangle tool right here that the market on the daily is trading lower and lower. It recently broke this low right here, and it is continuing to melt all the way down. So yeah, and you have this nice psychological level which is somewhere below where the current market price is. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame and see if there's a clear structure we can find a setup. And on the 4-hour time frame for EURUSD, we can clearly see that recently there is this lower low which got broken. So, and it left a nice supply zone right here. So what I'll be doing for this coming week, I want to see price coming to this 4-hour supply zone, tapping in our supply and giving us a nice entry criteria without violating the zone, and then I'll be willing to trade lower. If anything contrary to that happens, I won't be able to enter the trade. So that's it for EURUSD. Let's go to our next currency pair. And our next currency pair in line is GBPUSD. GBPUSD, it's a correlated pair with EURUSD. They correlate highly. So I usually like to, before I enter trade in EURUSD, I usually like to see how GBPUSD is doing. So the dollar index and the major currency pairs, those are two things that they correlate highly. So it's good for you to use the dollar index together with those currency pairs which have the dollar in it to confirm your bias, and that usually comes a long way. So with that said, let's look at GBPUSD. For GBPUSD, you can see that recently the market has been trading lower, just as we have seen in EURUSD. So after establishing our direction in the daily time frame, we can see that there's this nice psychological level somewhere around here, and then there's this one lower. So you have noticed that I've been saying psychological level. For you, it might not be a psychological level. Some call them turning point. Some will call it support, some resistance. But a psychological level, this is where price had a turn in the past or a rejection, and you round off that point to the nearest pips, and you call that a psychological level. It's like a simplified zone. Instead of drawing a zone, you just draw a line. So that becomes your psychological level. That is where the market has a high tendency of turning if it touches the point. So yeah, sorry for digressing, but I had to say it just in case some of you might be new to this. So with that said, for GBPUSD, we have established our direction on the daily time frame. So let's go on the lower time frames like the 4 and see how the market is doing. And here we are in the 4-hour time frame. So 4-hour time frame for GBPUSD. We can see that recently the market just broke below this previous lower low, just as we have seen in EURUSD, and we marked our supply zone which was left behind. Yeah, so we want to see if price, it's not a must, it might come and retest the zone. And one thing I love about this analysis, you can see that this supply zone is in confluence with our psychological level. So price has a high tendency of turning the minute it gets around this 1.255 zone. So I'll be very keen to see how price will react around this area, and I expect to take a short position if everything goes in place. So that's it for GBPUSD. Let's look at the next currency pair. And our next currency pair in line is GBPNZD. So this is not a major currency pair. It's a cross pair, because as you can see, it's a cross pair of GBPUSD and NZDUSD. So I'm not really a big fan of trading the minor pairs, but you know, they are not that bad off, especially when there is a clear structure. So with that said, GBPNZD on the daily time frame, we can see that it recently broke above these highs right here, marked by the blue zone. And after breaking the zone, it came again, retested the zone, and it is yet to break this newly formed high right here. So with that observed on the daily time frame, let's go to the 4-hour time frame and see how we can find a setup. If we go further on the 4-hour time frame, this is what we see. So we saw on the daily time frame that price broke above this blue zone, which was a kind of resistance zone, and after it broke the zone, it came and now it is retesting the zone. So if you further look into details on this currency pair, you can see that these prices, it was coming for a retest, there was this nice downtrend being formed right here, and recently the market had a change in character. So there was a shift from being a downtrend, and now it's a newly formed, it's yet to mature, but it's a newly formed uptrend. It's a potential uptrend. So there's two ways to go about this setup. So for that, let's go to our hourly time frame and see how we can find a setup right here. So on the hourly time frame, you can see that this is the downtrend I was telling you. So there was this nice downtrend being formed, and on the daily time frame, it's a retest of the breakout. So keep that in mind. So there was this nice downtrend, which is just a pullback on the daily, but now it hit our resistance zone, which is now a support zone after it was broken. And after that, it came, formed a new lower high, and continued to close above it, and then it broke the previous lower high. Okay, so this is a nice potential uptrend. So our direction is uptrend for GBPNZD. So the next thing we want to do is establish where the demand zone have been left. I usually like to pick my demand zone or my supply zone somewhere below, before the break of structure happened. So for this case, we have this break of structure right here. It broke this high right here. So this is where the break of structure happened. So my zones will be somewhere below this line right here. So this is a nice demand zone for me. This is another nice demand zone for me. So for this week, I'll be waiting to see if price will come, tap in my demand zone, and then have a nice rejection. If it breaks below this first demand, I want to see the second demand being respected. Yeah, anything contrary to that, I won't be taking the trade. Let me delete this. So that is it for GBPNZD. So thank you guys for watching my video. We'll catch up in the next episode. Peace.